Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you happen to be watching this. I hope that this is somewhat useful. Today, I want to spend a little time talking about John Green's podcast or essay on Canada geese and how it can apply to the comparison and contrast essay that you guys are going to be writing. First thing, Green, I think, does a great job of using numbers. And he compares the numbers of Canadian geese to humans. All right. And then he takes the numbers and he puts them into a ratio. So geese enjoy rural fields and rivers and lakes, but 80% of humans live in urban areas. Geese, 75% live near urban areas. He's taking numbers and combining or making the comparison, that shows that humans and geese, at least in one instance, behave in a similar fashion. The problem, I think, is he gives us his claim, he gives us the data to back it up, but I'm not sure in this paragraph he necessarily explains why the data matters. And I think he does a little bit too much of allowing us to make the inferences that he wants us to make in the next paragraph. And he may leave it a little open ended for two reasons. First, Green does a great job with a funnel. He now has a new paragraph. He gives a connecting sentence at the top. The more you look, the more connections you find between Canada geese and people. So let's look at his funnel. First, layer one, our population has increased. The population of Canada geese has increased since 1935. Okay. So he's making this simple comparison. Population has increased. Again, it's numbers for numbers. Next, he takes it deeper from numbers into behavior. And he does start setting the tone for what's going to follow with the idea of they mate for life. However, mating for life sometimes leads to unhappy marriages. Then he takes it a little bit further and he creates this idea that there's a bit of a danger with the increased population, and humans and geese both seem to not want to take care of their environment as much as they should. Geese probably have an excuse. They don't know any better. And then he takes it down to the conclusion where he separates geese from humans just a little bit to make the comparison complete. Few natural predators, that's the same. But geese don't attack each other the way humans do. At least they don't kill each other the way humans do. But they are like us in the fact that human violence is the cause of violent death. So he takes it layer by layer by layer, and he does get to the conclusion that in good and bad ways, they're very similar, and that there's a certain darkness. The way humans treat each other and the way humans treat geese is awful similar. Where Green loses me a little bit is the next paragraph, or the conclusion of this paragraph, excuse me. Canada geese are perfectly adapted to the human dominated planet. They seem to feel nothing for disdain for actual humans. They honk, they strut, they bite to keep people away, even though they're thriving because of artificial lakes and manicured lawns. We resent the Canada geese as a pest animal, or Green presents him as a pest animal. That conclusion, I don't think, is a natural conclusion from the data, and I don't think it's a warrant that sums everything up. So let's take a bit of the stuff to do along with the stuff not to do. First of all, claims and data. You look at the connections, you'll find connections between Canada geese and humans. We got a bunch of numbers in the data. We've got a sociological stat in the data. We've got a transition phrase like us, affected their habitats, transitioning the data. And then we've got the E. coli from the 100 pounds of excrement a year. All of that is great. And again, data, 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 and that comparison transitioning to more data, giving us an easy flow to follow. The short part for emphasis: geese have few natural predators. If they die by violence, it is almost always human violence, just like us. I would prefer, once again, to have a complete sentence, but still, the repetition of the just like us, making it be a sentence, just like us, adding the emphasis to that, I think is huge. The short sentence for emphasis, or the short phrase for emphasis. He's got a longer sentence, like us, geese have few natural predators. He's got a complex sentence, if they die by violence, with a dependent clause. It is almost always human violence. Okay, an independent clause. And then that short phrase for emphasis, just like us. I'll go back to the missed opportunities here. Even though Canada geese are perfectly adapted to the human dominated planet, they seem to feel nothing but disdain for actual humans. Is there something about us that we really feel disdain for most other humans? Should that comparison have been made more clear? Should there have been a little bit of a push, tying it back to the violence perhaps, that the disdain we have for other humans does the same sort of thing here? I don't know. I think it might be something to think about. They honk, they strut, they bite, even when they're thriving. Don't a lot of humans, for lack of a better phrase, honk and strut to keep others um, away from them? Or don't they honk and strut to proclaim their greatness? And again, I think that that comparison could have been developed a bit more. And I think it's sometimes a fair question. Are we the biggest pest animal on the planet? Maybe Green wants us to make that conclusion on our own, but I'm not sure that he did quite enough to lead us there. And remember, your job is to not let your reader think too much. Your job is to take your reader by the hand and lead the reader to the conclusion you want to. One more good thing here. One of the great things I think Green does in this long paragraph is the short repetitions that remind us that he's going to make a connection, that he's going to make a comparison like humans and like us and just like us. It not only does the function of reminding us that it's a comparison, it creates a form that provides some emphasis, that provides the reader with something to think about. I can argue a lot that the last two or three sentences, starting with "but even though Canada geese are perfectly adapted," that that bit perhaps should be a separate paragraph, that bit should be either taken out or developed further because it isn't quite complete. After the human violence, it seems to just not give us enough to think about, or not, it takes us off in a different direction and doesn't tie back well enough. But certainly, that fact that like humans reminds me I'm supposed to compare, and like us reminds me I'm supposed to compare, and the idea that the violence is going to be the thing, human violence kills us. Okay, animals don't kill us, human violence kills us. And human violence kills geese and other animals and is part of the destruction of the habitat. That, just like us, keeps the comparison going. It adds the emphasis. Function and form are combined in that part. And I think it's something Green does really well in this essay. I think I'm going to wrap it up here. I hope everyone has a great day. Hope to see you all in class the next class period.